Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the calendar, specifically something I did at the end of the last video. So at the end of the last video, you'll recall I took a particular event, this one right here, the calendar assignment, and I dragged it from the 23rd to the 30th. So real quick, let's go ahead and click on Lab Report 1. And I want to go to Lab Report 1's page real fast here. So I'm going to go to Lab Report 1 and show you a couple of details pertaining to this. So remember that this is available from July 1st at 12 a.m. and it's due July 8th, or it was due July 8th. So I want to show you one of the things that currently is an issue that you need to be aware of with the calendar, and that is when you drag and drop events in the calendar and you change ultimately their due date. So if I were to take Lab Report 1 and change its due date to the 15th, notice it's no longer crossed out, and that's because its due date has not passed. Lab Report 2, however, its due date has passed. But I do want to show you ultimately what happens to the availability of Lab Report 1. So if we come here, notice the availability remains the same. So let me show you why this is an issue. So it being available July 1st versus, a later date might not be that big of a deal for you. But what if I had actually set a day when this should no longer be available? So let's say that I said that it shouldn't be available after the 18th, and I save it. Okay, so let's go back to our calendar again. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over here and drop it at the 19th. So it's available from the 1st still, and now it's due the 19th. So what does this mean for its availability? Well, that's the thing you need to be aware of. Its availabilities are not changed by dragging and dropping. So if you are going to set a deadline when this assignment is no longer available to students, you need to be aware of that if you're going to be doing anything in the calendar where you drag and drop those events. So the due date will change when you drag it and drop it somewhere else, but its availability window does not change. This is something that has been brought up to Instructure. It is a feature that has been requested, and I'm not sure at this point in time as to whether or not they are considering making a change to that. But at least right now, just be aware of that. If you're going to do anything in terms of changing the end date that an assignment is available to students, and you do wind up moving that assignment somewhere, understand its due date will change, but its availability dates will remain unchanged, and you will have to go in and make those changes. So I wanted to bring that to your attention in terms of the calendar view.